Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai
Jai
Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai
Jai
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai
Jai
Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai
Jai.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna dear devotees, welcome to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila chapter 1, the later pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One second. Just a second. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. Chapter 1. So we are reading about the synopsis of the Antya Lila. So the various pastimes that happened in the Antya Lila, just in a synopsis, we are reading. So recently we've been reading about how, so this is the episode of Raghunath Das Goswami, how Raghunath Das Goswami would try to go and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he was very wealthy, the only heir to all the property of his father and uncle, he had a very beautiful wife, everything that any person in this world could expect to be happy. He had everything and very highly qualified, but still he was not interested in those things. So then he tried to run away from home so many times. And then Mahaprabhu, when he ran away to Mahaprabhu, corrected him and said that there's no need to show this monkey renunciation. So then you should go and do your duties at home, but your attachment should be in your heart. You shouldn't be attached to those things. In your heart, you should always be meditating on the Supreme Lord and how to carry out the mission of the Lord. But externally to this world, you should show that you are very diligently doing your duties here, like that. So now Raghunath Das Goswami was doing that. And once he happened to go to Panihati where Nityananda Prabhu had come, he heard that Nityananda Prabhu was there, so he went to see him. And then he offered obeisances from afar And Nityananda Prabhu called for him and said, "You thief, right? You're not even coming, and from a distance you're trying to take the mercy. Your punishment is you should uh, feed all the devotees chipped rice with yogurt and condensed milk, like that." So then Raghunath Das Goswami was more than happy. So I'll just continue reading, or just let me read one verse before this, so we'll have the continuity. Yes. So the episode before this was how in Jagannath Puri once all the devotees were chanting the names of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how Srivas Thakur was kind of leading. So after that, then we're reading about Raghunath Das Goswami. So text 283. At that time, Raghunath Das approached. Okay, so that's where we are starting. Okay, so we'll just start from 283. Raghunath Das Nityanand, Raghunath Das, रघुनाथ दास नित्यानंद पाशे गेला चिडा दधी महोत्सवा ताहाई कोरिला. At this time, Raghunath Das approached Sri Nityananda Prabhu and, according to his order, prepared a feast and distributed prasadam composed of chipped rice and curd. Curd means yogurt. There is a special preparation in Bengal wherein chipped rice is mixed with curd and sometimes with sandesh and mango. It is a very palatable food offered to the deity and then distributed to the public. Raghunath Das Goswami, who was a householder at this time, met Nityananda Prabhu. According to his advice, he executed this festival of Dadhi Chida Prasad. So, just a little bit of explanation of how this preparation is made. So, the poha, right? Chida dahi, chida, or chudwa, you say. You soak it in yogurt, and so there were two pots. One was soaked in yogurt, and one is soaked in condensed milk. And then after it soaks up nicely, then you add different things to it. Here it is said mango and sandesh, but in Atlanta, when they do this festival under the guidance of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, so many varieties are added, right? Different types of nuts, different types of fruits, different types of sweets in
Yes,
that.
yes, so many Mataji, so many varieties of pots, decorative, so
Yes, and
nice.
decorated so nicely, painted, and
Yes,
then they are offered for the pleasure of the lordships, and then they are auctioned to the devotees, and then those funds are for the deities, for the service of the deities, like this. It's a very wonderful festival, and with great enthusiasm, devotees also come forward to sponsor. And after they sponsor, it's not like they just take the whole pot and go away to their home. They just distribute all the prasad to everyone. There's so much prasad they cannot eat. Like they just go around, whoever has sponsored the pot, different sized pots are there. They just go around distributing. So you're just sitting there, and so much prasad comes to you. You cannot eat it all.
we just told the plate, devotees come to us and they serve in a plate, so many
Yes,
varieties, and they take just the pot as a blessing for remembrance of Guru, Very
yes.
nice things.
Yeah, that's amazing,
They make
wonderful,
an
very sweet
auction of
festival.
the pots, Mataji.
Yeah,
Them, no.
yeah. So the next one. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he originally, under the guidance of Nityananda Prabhu, this festival was, uh, you can say, inaugurated by Nityananda Prabhu, and he engaged Raghunath Das Goswami. So he sponsored this festival. We'll read it in detail when it comes. This is just a synopsis. तार आज्ञा लोया गेला प्रभुर चरणे प्रभु तारे समर्पिला स्वरूपेर स्थाने. Later, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami left home and took shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri. At that time, the Lord received him and placed him under the care of Swarup Damodar for spiritual enlightenment. So, until and unless Raghunath Das Goswami got the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, he could not get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya aprasadan nagati kutopi. If we don't please the spiritual master, we have no gati, no destination. We cannot get the mercy of Krishna. So who is Guru? The original Guru is Sri Nityananda Prabhu or Lord Balaram. He is the original Guru. All other Gurus are representatives of Nityananda Prabhu. So here Raghunath Das Goswami, although he tried to run away from home so many times, it was never fruitful. But when he pleased Nityananda Prabhu by arranging for this Panihati Chida Dadi festival, then he got all the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. And the next time when he tried to run away from home and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was welcomed, right? And then after that, Mahaprabhu accepted Raghunath Das Goswami and put him under the care of Swarup Damodar Goswami for spiritual enlightenment. Purport. In this regard, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami writes in Vilapa Kusumanjali. Let me see. This is Shad Goswami Ashtakam meter. Yo mam dustargeha nirjalamaha kupada paraklamat sadyah sandradayambudhi prakritita स्वैरीकृपारज्जुभिः उद्धृत्यात्मसरोजनिन्दिचरणा प्रान्तं प्रपद्य स्वयम् श्रीदामोदरसाच्चकारतमहं चैतन्यचन्द्रं भजे. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who, by his unreserved mercy, kindly saved me from household life, which is exactly like a blind well without water, and placed me in the ocean of transcendental joy under the care of Swarup Damodar Goswami. So again, to substantiate what Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said here, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Raghunath Das Goswami and put him under the care of Swarup Damodar Goswami. So here, in the words of Raghunath Das Goswami himself, where is this written? In Vilapa Kusumanjali. Vilapa Kusumanjali. Right? Out of separation, offering flowers out of separation. Kusumanjali. Right? Vilapa Kusumanjali. So verse 5. So here Raghunath Das Goswami is saying that Mahaprabhu took me out of a blind well. Blind well means that well which has no water. Right? So imagine if you fall into a blind well, what does that mean? That means death. You cannot come out. You cannot survive inside. You just have to die eventually. That's a blind well. So householder life means grihamedhi, where the center is not Krishna consciousness. Grihastha ashram is not condemned. Ashram, as soon as you say ashram means where spiritual progress is happening, right? You have brahmachari ashram, grihastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, sannyas ashram. In temples you have ashram, right? Ashram means it's a place where the devotees stay, and the center of the devotees is making spiritual progress. So grihastha ashram, that is not condemned, but where the center of the family life is sense gratification, or where the center is not devotional service to Krishna, such a family life is condemned. It is compared to a blind well. Even Prahlad Maharaj says this to Hiranyakashipu, like that. This family life is like a blind well. Get out of this, right? And then go to Madhuvan or Vrindavan. Take shelter of the Supreme Lord, like that. So Raghunath Das Goswami saying, and from material standard, if any materialistic person saw what Raghunath Das Goswami had as a family man, they would envy him. His opulence was like a demigod's opulence. Everything that any person can desire for in this world. He had everything. But still he considered to be a blind well. Why? Because he wanted devotional service as the center, not just some piety, right? Not simply some piety, not even like Sukritina, right? Sukritina means they're worshipping Lord Vishnu, but also desiring like everything should be nice, everyone should be happy, wealthy, happy, like that. Everything should be nice in my life. No, that's not the center for a pure devotional service. The center for a pure devotee is just whatever pleases Krishna. Krishna should be pleased, even at the cost of my own suffering. It does not matter, like that. So Raghunath Das Goswami, because his father, they were running temples and all that. It's not like they were materialistic. Well, materialistic. See, there's mixed devotees. That's what it means. Mixed devotees means you want material happiness also and you want to do bhakti also. Mixed, right? And you do, by doing bhakti, you want that everything should go nice with your material life also. Or sometimes I want liberation where I can get nice long term happiness, right? I don't have to suffer again. So, all these things are not pure unalloyed devotional service. They're not pure devotional service. Pure means there's no tinge of anything else, no desire for liberation, no desire for freedom from suffering, no desire for material opulences, nothing. So, therefore, anything less than that, Raghunath Das Goswami is saying it's a blind well, blind well. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful. He pulled me out of the blind well of household life and he gave, gave me the shelter of Swarup Damodar Goswami, like that. Next. And what was the shelter? The care of Swarup Damodar Goswami is compared to an ocean of nectar. Now you may think, oh, ocean means salt water. You cannot even drink salt water. What's the use of that ocean? No, it is the ocean of nectar, right? From being parched and thirsty in a blind well, right? Just about to give up your life there. If somebody picks you up and puts you in an ocean where there's no limit, right, of sweet water and nectar, just imagine the difference, how satisfied that person will be. That's how Raghunath Das Goswami was feeling when he got the shelter of Swarup Damodar Goswami. Again. ब्रह्मानंद भारतीरा घुचाइला चर्मांबरा. Again. ब्रह्मानंद भारतीर घुचाइला चर्मांबरा. Ei mata lila koila chaya vatsara. Later, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped Brahmananda Bharati's habit of wearing deer skin. The Lord thus enjoyed his pastimes continuously for 6 years, experiencing varieties of transcendental bliss. Okay, so of the Shesha Leela, first 6 years are traveling, that's Madhya Leela, that's over. Now we are reading Antya Leela. So after 6 years, how many are remaining? 18. 18. In those 18 also, for 6 years, Mahaprabhu was enjoying various pastimes with his devotees. He was still there in external, he had external consciousness still. So he was performing pastimes with the devotees like this. So his reciprocation with Raghunath Das Goswami, and then we see is how he chastised Chota Haridas, how he performed the disappearance festival of Haridas Thakur with Srivas Thakur, the Lord's pastimes, like that. So he was still performing various pastimes with devotees for 6 years while staying in Jagannath Puri continuously without traveling for 6 years. So one of these pastimes is Brahmananda Bharati, right? Like Keshav Bharati, Brahmananda Bharati. Uh, so these are the titles of sannyasis like Bharati, right? So or Saraswati. These are all titles of sannyas. So Brahmananda Bharati, he was used to wearing deer skin. So Mahaprabhu stopped him from wearing deer skin. And in this way, he enjoyed various pastimes for 6 years, experiencing varieties of transcendental bliss. Eta kohila madhya lila sutra gana shesha dwadasha vatsarera shuna vivarana. Okay, so actually 12, right? So Madhya Leela is also including the 6 years that Mahaprabhu stayed continuously in Jagannath Puri, apparently. Because Madhya Leela is the traveling of Mahaprabhu for the first 6 years, but all the other pastimes that we discuss now, that Mahaprabhu has performed while staying in Jagannath Puri for 6 years, I was thinking that is also that, because only the traveling part at the beginning of Madhya Leela, it is said at the beginning of the synopsis that the Lord travels throughout India. That comes the first 6 years of his travels. So for 6 years he traveled. That's a fact. And then for 6 years he stayed continuously. Okay, in Puri. Both these together, his 6 years of travel and his 6 years of continuously staying in Puri after that and performing pastimes with devotees. So the first 12 years after taking sannyas are counted as Madhya Leela. So that's how Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, with this I come to the end of Madhya Leela. I have thus given a synopsis of the Madhya Leela. So now please hear the pastimes of the Lord performed during the last 12 years. Okay. So let's just read the purport. Thus, Srila Kaviraj Goswami, strictly following in the footsteps of Sri Vyasadeva, gives a synopsis of the Leelas of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. He has given such a description at the end of each canto, who Vyasadeva has also given. When a canto ends, he gives a description of what has been discussed in that canto. So, following strictly in the footsteps of Sri Vyasadeva, now Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also gives a synopsis of the Leelas of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. He has given such a description at the end of each canto. In the Adi Leela, he outlined the pastimes of the Lord in the 5 stages of boyhood, leaving the details of the description to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Now, in this chapter, the pastimes that took place at the end of the Lord's life are summarized. These are described in the Madhya Leela and Antya Leela. The rest of the pastimes have been described in a synopsis in the second chapter of the Madhya Leela. In this way, the author has gradually described both the Madhya Leela and the Antya Leela. Okay, so this verse is saying here, Eita Kohila Madhya Leelara Sutragana. So this comes to the end of all the Madhya Leela pastimes. Shesha Dwadasha Vatsarera Shuna Vivarana. So now the remaining 12 years, now I'm going to describe. So that should be the Antya Leela. Sri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, first chapter, summarizing the later pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what did you understand? That the first chapter, which is a summary of the later pastimes of Mahaprabhu, constitutes a synopsis of the first 12 years of Mahaprabhu's pastimes after taking sannyas, first 12 years. Within those first 12 years, the first 6 years he was traveling all over India. He went to South India, then he attempted to go to Vrindavan, he went to Bengal and came back. And the third time he actually went to Vrindavan via Varanasi. And then he came back, and all the pastimes that happened on the way, while going there and on the way back. That is 6 years. And then the next 6 years, while he stayed continuously in Jagannath Puri, all these other list of pastimes that he discussed about Raghunath Das Goswami, Haridas Thakur, chastising Chota Haridas, Damodar Pandit, right? And how Srivas Thakur with all the other devotees was once chanting the names of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All this happened in Madhya Leela. All this comes in Madhya Leela. So all this, the Madhya Leela's pastimes are given in sutra form in the first chapter of Madhya Leela. Now the second chapter is going to give you a synopsis of the Antya Leela. The ecstatic manifestations of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the second chapter of the Madhya Leela, the author describes the pastimes the Lord performed during the last 12 years of his life. Thus, he has also described some of the pastimes of the Antya Leela. Why he has done so is very difficult for an ordinary person to understand. Why he has done means Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, why he has described like this. It's difficult to understand for an ordinary person. The author expects that reading the pastimes of the Lord will gradually help a person awaken his dormant love of Krishna. Actually, this Chaitanya Charitamrita was compiled by the author during very old age. Fearing he might not be able to finish the book, he has included a synopsis of Antilila, exactly like Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Srila Prabhupada also embarked on the task of translating the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. But he started translating. But after translating the first canto and the second canto, he decided that he must first give the 10th canto. That's because in Srimad Bhagavatam there are 10 topics, and the first nine topics are actually meant to bring us to the 10th topic. What is the 10th topic? Ashraya, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, taking shelter of Krishna. That is the heart of Srimad Bhagavatam. But in order to get there, the first nine cantos are spoken. So there is creation, sub-creation, the Lord giving protection, Manvantara avatars, like that, annihilation, liberation, all these topics are discussed. But the purpose of all these is to bring us to the 10th canto. And Srila Prabhupada also did not know if he would stay in this world to come to the 10th canto. So therefore, he first gave us Krishna book. In Krishna book, he gave us, in a summary form, the 10th canto. That just in case if we didn't have time to complete the 10th canto, at least the devotees, the world will have, right, the essence. Like that, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also has given the synopsis at the beginning itself, just in case he's not able to complete. Why? Because of his advanced age. He was in his 90s, late 90s. So, fearing he might not be able to finish the book, he has included a synopsis of the Antyalila here in the second chapter. Normally, you would expect, like in the beginning of Adilila, he will give a synopsis of Adilila. Then in the beginning of Madhyalila, he should give the synopsis of only Madhyalila. And then after he completes the Madhyalila, when he begins Antyalila, then he should give the synopsis of Antyalila, isn't it? But in Madhyalila itself, he's giving the synopsis of Antyalila. What is the reason for that? Because he thought maybe I won't be there to do the Antyalila. But if I give the synopsis, then someone else can take it forward, or at least they will have the synopsis, like that. So fearing he might not be able to finish the book, he has included a synopsis of the Antyalila here in the second chapter. Srila Kaviraj Goswami has confirmed that the opinion of Swarup Damodar is authoritative in the matter of devotional service. Over and above this are the notes of Swarup Damodar memorized by Raghunath Das Goswami, who also helped in the compilation of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. After the disappearance of Swarup Damodar Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami went to Vrindavan. At that time, the author Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj met Raghunath Das Goswami, by whose mercy he also could memorize all the notes. In this way, the author was able to complete this transcendental literature, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, how did we end the first chapter about reading about Raghunath Das Goswami? And that also, Raghunath Das Goswami got the shelter of Swarup Damodar Goswami. Now, who is Swarup Damodar Goswami? He is the personal secretary of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Swarup Damodar Goswami, is Lalita Sakhi. So, Mahaprabhu's early pastimes, or his pastimes before acceptance of sannyas, they were noted down in the diary of Murari Gupta. So Murari Gupta's diary is the source for, or his notes, right? His diary, his notes is the source for all the books that were written about Mahaprabhu's early pastimes. And then the later pastimes, after accepting sannyas, Swarup Damodar Goswami had maintained a diary. So whatever Swarup Damodar Goswami said, that is accepted as authentic. about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And whoever has taken, in this case Raghunath Das Goswami, was personally trained by Swarup Damodar Goswami. So he was with Swarup Damodar Goswami. After Swarup Damodar Goswami appeared, he had the diary. He memorized the entire diary, Raghunath Das Goswami. Apart from that, for 15 years, he was there with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. So Raghunath Das Goswami is the next person uh, who's the treasury of all the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. So then when he came to Vrindavan, uh, everyone requested him to speak about the pastimes of Mahaprabhu in Puri, which they didn't know. They were all in Vrindavan. So every day he would sit on the banks of Radha Kund and he would speak. Whatever he memorized from Swarup Damodar Goswami's diaries, right? So then, and of course his personal association and realization. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami would come and hear every day from Raghunath Das Goswami. So this book, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, written by Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, consists of, it's based on the notes of Swarup Damodar Goswami, on the input by Raghunath Das Goswami, and the understanding and personal ecstasies, right, realizations of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. That is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So now chapter 2, text 1. विच्छेदेऽस्मिन् प्रभोरन्त्या लीलासूत्रानुवर्णने गौरस्य कृष्णविच्छेदा प्रलापाद्यनुवर्ण्यते. While relating in synopsis form the last division of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this chapter I shall describe the Lord's transcendental ecstasy, which appears like madness due to his separation from Krishna. So the last 12 years, pastimes of Mahaprabhu during the last 12 years of his manifest Leela, that is Ante Leela. So his activities at that time during the last 12 years would appear like madness to an ordinary person, right? This was due to the madness, or that state of consciousness was due to intense separation from Krishna. Purport. But they are actually, this madness is actually a transcendental ecstasy. Purport. In this chapter, second chapter, the activities of Lord Chaitanya that took place after the Lord accepted sannyas are generally described. Generally, in a synopsis, not in detail. Activities of Mahaprabhu that took place after he accepted sannyas are generally described. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is specifically mentioned here as being Gaura, or of fair complexion. Krishna is generally known to be blackish, but when he is absorbed in the thought of the gopis, who are all of fair complexion, Krishna himself also becomes fair. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in particular felt separation from Krishna very deeply, exactly like a lover who is dejected in separation from the beloved. Such feelings, which were expressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for nearly 12 years at the end of his pastimes, are described in brief in this second chapter of Madhya Leela. So if you remember the confidential reasons for Mahaprabhu's appearance, there are 3 external reasons and 3 confidential reasons, right? So the external reasons, of course, to answer the prayers of Advaita Acharya, and also to start the Hare Krishna movement. And also it was the time for the incarnation, Yuga Avatar. So for these reasons, Mahaprabhu appeared. But these are just external reasons. What are these things can actually be done, just an incarnation coming and giving the Yuga Dharma, that can be done even by an expansion, Amsha of the Lord. Why Swayam Bhagavan had to come? Because he had other reasons, his own personal reasons. Those are the confidential reasons. So the confidential reasons are, Krishna wanted to experience what Srimati Radharani is experiencing. which is impossible for Krishna to experience from his position as the Ashraya. So he should be Ashrita, one who takes shelter, right, from the devotee's position. So therefore, he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the role of a devotee in love with Krishna. The highest ecstasies in that role were experienced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during this time, the last 12 years. So he had completely withdrawn from external activities. Even with the devotees, the preaching and all that he was doing, he had completely withdrawn. Now he was simply relishing that Vipralamba Bhava, separation from Krishna. So therefore, then we get to see what is the state of somebody who is in this. Somebody means here, you know, the bhava, the bhava that was experienced, or the prema that is experienced by Mahaprabhu, it's of the highest level of prema, Mahabhava. In prema also you have several stages like raga, anuraga, bhava. Ultimately there is Mahabhava. That Mahabhava who has, only Srimati Radharani has, nobody else has that highest level. So Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, now in the mood of Srimati Radharani, is feeling that he's experiencing that Mahabhava, the highest ecstasy of separation from Krishna. Then what transformations happen in that Mahabhava? That this world is able to see, everyone is able to see. So this, but those who, it appears like madness, but actually this is the highest ecstasy. And also another point is, normally Krishna is blackish, but now that he's in the mood of Srimati Radharani, now Krishna's complexion becomes like Srimati Radharani, molten gold. Like the gopis. All gopis we saw, they're actually personal, forms of Srimati Radharani in different moods, like that. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of the Lord. Sheshaye Rahila Prabhura Dwadasha Vatsara Krishnera Viyoga Spurti Hoya Nirantara. During the last 12 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always manifested all the symptoms of ecstasy in separation from Krishna. All symptoms of ecstasy, right? Whatever ecstatic symptoms there may be, he exhibited all the symptoms of ecstasy that one can experience in separation from Krishna during the last 12 years. श्रीराधिकार चेष्टा येन उद्धव दर्शने ऐ मत दशा प्रभुरा होय रात्रि दिने. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's state of mind, day and night, was practically identical to Radharani's state of mind when Uddhava came to Vrindavan to see the gopis. So you know this pastime, right? Krishna sent Uddhava. Actually, first Balaramji came. And I forget if Balramji came first or Uddhava came first. I think Balramji came first. And then when Balramji came, Balramji just came on his own. Balaramji came. And then after Balaramji saw the condition of the Brajvasis, especially the gopis, how much they were in separation, he went back and told Krishna, they're going to die, you should go, right, to them. Then Krishna sent Uddhava to pacify them. Uddhava looks just like Krishna. And so he brought a letter from Krishna for the gopis. So again, there's another reason also there. But anyway, here we won't discuss. But when he came there, what was the condition? He would read, right, the letter to the gopis, and he just saw what is the exalted position of the gopis, what is the exalted love of the gopis. Uddhava got to see firsthand. Instead of pacifying them, he was completely, this became his life's desire to become a dust under the feet of the gopis, to get, a little bit, a drop of love that they have for Krishna. He desired for that love. That's how he became a creeper, a gulmalata in Braj. So when Uddhava came, he saw Srimati Radharani practically like a mad person. She's talking to the bumblebees, and she's talking to the clouds and to the trees like a mad person. So that's what is being said here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's state at this time, during the last 12 years, was exactly like Srimati Radharani's state when Uddhava came to Vrindavan to see the gopis. So I will stop here. It's already 4:30. Thank you all, dear devotees. I will see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, did you share about Radha Ashtami?
Radhashtami?
Gopashtami.
Gopashtami.
Gopashtami? You
No, I
forgot.
didn't. At first, no, I didn't forget. When we had the class yesterday, I mean, I was already quite sleepy. So, and then now it's like early morning. I was thinking I'll read in the morning now, but then I realized that it's better to do during Srimad Bhagavatam class.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do that first tomorrow morning class. First we'll read that, and then we'll start our Bhagavatam, and I'll be on time. I'll come.